Hi everyone, it's Leilani. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm pulling back out this altered children's book that we worked on not too terribly long ago, maybe a month or two. I created this over here in another video, so I will link that below if you haven't seen it. But it's essentially actually a couple altered children's books, two different Snow White books that I put together with some random papers from an old paper pad from Joann's, and I'm just kind of using bits and pieces from my stash, and I'm putting together a thrifting adventures book, which I thought would be fun for me because I love going thrifting and I love taking pictures of all the random little things that catch my eye whenever I am thrifting. But then I don't really know what to do with those photos. I don't always document all of them in my Project Life or in my Hobonichi or anything like that. So I thought just having a really super easy little junk journal-esque notebook here just to kind of pop things down into would be fun. So it's a little bit of a different project for me because structurally it doesn't have all of the standard things that I'm used to with scrapbooking, like a layout that definitely has a kind of idea at the beginning of where it's going to go or kind of what I want it to look like, you know, a typical scrapbooking layout or pocket pages or whatever it is. This is more just like a notebook vibe where I am just simply cutting, pasting, popping things in. So that is kind of how this one's working for me. So what I decided to do was I'm kind of going with the same flow of what I did in the first half of the book, or the first section of the book that we worked on during that first video, which was my adventure one when me and my mom went thrifting in Nashville. So now I have two other adventures that I wanted to document in here as well. So this one is adventure number 2. Right now I'm taking a little break just to punch out a bunch of the gold stars that I like to keep in my little star dish. As y'all know, I was completely out, so I'm adding a bunch here just really briefly. But anyway, adventure number 2 is all about the antique gallery, which is one of my favorite local antique stores that I love to go to here in Memphis. So I am simply just adding on kind of my title page, the same thing that I did for that first one, as I was saying. So I grabbed a couple cards from the antique gallery the last time that me and Will went. So I have the front of the card and the back of the card that has all of the information, but that did kind of clog up my page where I didn't have as much space for photos and whatnot. So I did add my journaling down at the bottom, as you'll see, but I actually end up pulling that off, and now I'm kind of second guessing it because whenever I added the journaling, I really didn't know if I liked it. I felt like I had to journal so much to fill in that space, and it was just about our local antique store, so I didn't have all that much to say about it. So I end up removing that and adding another photo much later in the video. But I don't know, maybe I will add just some sort of label or something on eventually. I'm not sure, but I do remove it, and now I'm second guessing it. But anyways, here's kind of how my title page is going. A couple cards, a little bit of journaling, and or the photos here from that thrifting adventure. And now before I continue, I did finally get some Avery index tabs, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned wanting to get some more, so I just grabbed these off of Amazon, and I thought that they would be a great thing to add into this book because I am essentially just filling in like that title page and then just several other papers behind that title page with photos from that particular antique store. And so I feel like the tabs will really kind of help to keep it organized and let you know which pages go with which store, which just makes me feel better about the book in general. Like, I like that organization of it, so I'm happy to add those tabs, and we will actually add little typed labels to the tabs here after a little bit. So now on the back here, I am just kind of adding some color to the page by popping on some pattern paper. Like I said, all of the pattern paper that you're going to be seeing is basically from a random paper pad from Joann's that I've just had. It's kind of one of those color, like the paper pad is all by color, and then it has slight patterns on each one. So I'm mostly using that, but you will see a few odds and ends here also from the Simple Stories flea market collection. I had some left over from whenever I was using it for another project a few months ago. So I tried to incorporate it in here as best I could, because of course it is flea market themed, which works out so well. The other little embellishments are mostly from Studio Calico, just things that I grabbed during a big sale several months ago that are very close to my desk. So all of those acetate, like not stars, but hearts and flowers that you see, along with the little smiley face stickers and a lot of that stuff, all of that is from Studio Calico. So here I'm just adding on a few photos that I took while we were at the thrift store. So the larger one is of this one booth that is one of my favorite booths there, because it is filled with more of the nostalgic items. There's always a lot of like plushies, American Girl dolls, things like that. I saw an old vintage caboodle in there last time. And one of my favorite things is at the bottom of those shelves, there are tons of children's books. And that's always something that I'm looking for. So they have little golden books, the small Telltale books, also like Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, all of those fun books that I love to grab while I'm at the antique store. So that is one of my favorite booths that I always definitely check out whenever we're there. Also, some of those other smaller photos are of just a bunch of like old phones, and I always just love old phones. I'm always on the lookout for one of those classic 90s see-through phones that I am determined to find at some point and purchase just for the heck of it if I ever see one in person at a thrift store. Also, a really cute Barbie like tote box to put your Barbies in, and there were stickers on it and stuff. Really cute plushies from Nickelodeon of Chucky and Angelica from the Rugrats, and then also a super cool Gremlins lunchbox. So things like that, like things that I love to see, bring me back to like the nostalgia of my childhood, or something that I just think is fun. I love to take a photo of those things while I'm thrifting, because I'm not going to purchase every one of those things. And it's fun to take pictures of them so that I can just like flip through this if I ever want to, just for the fun of it. And also it's kind of nice to have them organized by the thrift store so I can remember kind of which one's which, where they're located, what kind of things that they have inside of them. So just kind of a neat little idea here, something that I really enjoy as a random hobby. And of course, we've got to memory keep it. You know, we're scrapbookers. All of us here are scrapbookers, and I love to scrap any and all things that I'm interested in. So I'm really enjoying this book. So at this point, I added on a few other stars over to that page I was working on, and I really wanted to add a little dash border to the stars. So I went back through the album really quick to add any little dash borders to previous stars that I had added in there. This photo is of another booth that me and Will love at the same antique store, and Will was looking through things, but they always have fun video games and a lot of tapes of different bands and stuff, and that's something that Will always looks for. So I had snapped a photo of him kind of browsing there. And now we're moving on to the next thrift store. So I'm going to do the same idea. I have the card that I grabbed while I was there. And then I also am going to put Adventure 3. And so this one is all about a recent trip that me and Will just took a couple days ago to Little Rock, Arkansas. And we went to a few thrift stores. Now, while we were on this trip, I did grab the card here from the Midtown Vintage Market that we went to, but I forgot to grab a card from the other couple places that we went to. So I'm kind of kicking myself now, but this was the main like classic thrift store kind of place that we went to. So this is the one that fits into this book the best. So I'm happy. It all works out. So I have Adventure 3. I always add on the date as well. And then I have my card here to have all of the information. I also grabbed out a few different kind of skinnier washies to add on just for fun, to make it look like they're just kind of stuck into the book. And then I have this larger photo here of of Will. I really loved the way these couple booths were set up inside this vintage market, because there was tons and tons of blow molds above. Like, you can see them up really high above where Will is looking. And I just loved that. There were so many Christmas blow molds, also some Halloween ones. And I love vintage decor like that, like holiday decor, especially blow molds. I have a Santa that I've had since I was a kid, so it's from the 80s, and I cherish that thing and bring it out every Christmas. But it was really nice to see all of those. I know a bunch of them were really expensive. I mean, they can go for hundreds of dollars, but it was cool to see them there. And I loved this kind of collection of goodies that was in this particular little booth. So all of these stores that I've been talking about are definitely the type of like really big thrift store where there's multiple booths for all kinds of different people that rent out booths there. So there was some things that I liked that were more my style, but this thrift store also had a lot of the more shabby chic, like it's just a way different vibe of antiquing and thrifting. So there wasn't a ton for us to look at, but we did end up finding a few things. I got a few cute like kitchen collectibles. When I'm looking for things for the house, I'm always looking for more like 50s, 70s, like the very retro vibes. And then, of course, anything nostalgic. Will got some hats, things like that. So we did have fun, but it wasn't a full blowout of like an amazing thrift store, but it was a good time. So as we're moving on into this page, actually this photo here was from a different place that we went to called Retro Rick's Game Point. So this was kind of different because it is really more a game store than a thrift store, but there are like curated nostalgic items there. I will definitely talk more about that in my Project Life spread, but I did include that one photo because I wanted another larger photo there at the top, so I used that one of me. And then I have these 3 other pictures at the bottom are again just inside the Midtown vintage market, and so they're just of some of the shelves that I liked. And also I was wearing a Ghost World shirt from that movie, and I found the graphic novel, which I already own, but I found it there, and I just thought that that was funny that I saw the Ghost World graphic novel while I was wearing Ghost World like merch. So I thought that was kind of cool. And so I just added on those 3 photos, and I'm adding in a few little like sprinkles here of just some doodles. So I went back to add those in. Also, you'll see a couple cookie jars. I really want to start a cookie jar collection, so that's on my mind as well. So I'm definitely taking a lot of pictures of cookie jars that I find. Okay, here's where I decided to remove that journaling, and I added on this picture of this super cool vintage TV that's in one of mine and Will's favorite booths from the antique gallery. We could play little video games on it, and I loved that. So it really doesn't bother me that much that there's no journaling on that front page because, like I said, it's from our local thrift store, so I know it very well. But I might go back next time and add like a little label or something just with a bit of information. We'll see. So I really liked the red that I added down at the bottom here, but it was just a little bit too big. So I took it off, cut it down, and turned it into kind of a little banner. And then I added that back on, adding on a few other little bits and pieces here just to kind of finish up this page. And then we are going to move on to actually a little vellum page that I have here in the middle. It's kind of hard to see, but the book does have a few pieces of vellum on it as well. So this one is a larger photo. So I did print my photos off at different sizes. So the smallest ones are the 1.5 by 2 inch size, which is one of my favorite sizes for little projects like this. Then like the one of me with Ronald McDonald there, that is a 2.5 by 3.5 size. And then this larger one here of the tapeworm is a 3 by 4. So I loved this little tapeworm, and I almost got it, but I just really didn't need it. But I thought it was so cute. I love like the era that it looks like it's from, and it was just such a cute little thing where obviously you could add your tape inside of it and, you know, have a cute tape dispenser. So I thought it was adorable. Then on the back here, I'm just adding some more pattern paper, and I'm actually going to add these 4 smaller photos to the back of the vellum piece, and they are of some very iconic Pop Idol Barbies that I saw while thrifting. So this one booth, actually the one with the blow molds, I think, had so many amazing Barbies. So I took pictures of a few of them. I have Ginger Spice there and also, of course, Baby Spice, but I'm pretty sure most of the Spice Girls were there. Also a Beyonce Barbie from the Destiny's Child days that looks absolutely not one bit of anything like Beyonce. And then lastly, Christina Aguilera. So that was just kind of fun to see all of those vintage Barbies. I thought they were really cool. I have absolutely no space for something like that, but especially in box, which is even cooler, but I just don't have the space for it. But I thought that they were really neat to see, so I just snapped a few pictures of them. Then while I was going through things, I found a little, those little tags that said 1, 2, and 3. So I thought, why not? I just added them onto the first 3 little thrifting adventures here in my book. And now I didn't know if I wanted to add something to the bottom of this vellum, but I ended up just kind of tearing it off so that it all fit in there nicely. And there you have it. There's that page. And I'm almost done, I think, with this section, but before I add my last photo, I went and printed off what I was going to put into my labels. So I did typed labels here. So what I did was I just typed out the name of each of the stores, and then I also typed out where the store was located. So either Nashville, Memphis, or Little Rock for these 3. And then I'm just using the labels that come with the Avery index tabs, and I'm popping the store on the front and the location on the back. And then I'm going to put them into the little tabs here. And I really love this addition. So I have recently just added some tabs to my Hobonichi for like each month, and I just love the way that that worked out. And that really got me thinking that I wanted to add some tabs in here. It just kind of, I don't know, I run on organization, you guys. I can't help it. So even in kind of like a junk journal, it just makes me feel good that I have these tabs on the side so that it doesn't feel so chaotic inside the book of like, okay, what are all these little papers and these random pictures? It's like, no, they're all organized within the tabs to show you which thrift stores that we are shopping at, and I really love that. So here's another photo from Retro Rick's. I had to add it on. It's another 3x4 photo, and it's of these really, really cool cases that he had at his store. And this one was all about the 90s with a ton of really amazing 90s memorabilia. And it said at the top, like, the 90s proven to be the best decade or something like that. So I had to add that in. And then I added a little piece from the flea market collection that says I'm all about it, and just adding in the little finishing touches here before we finish up these pages. So I'm really glad that I was able to add these in, because I've definitely been really going, thrifting quite a bit. Thrifting's always been a passion of mine, but for this summer, I've really been into it. So I didn't want to get too, let it get too away from me where I wasn't updating my thrifting book. So I'm really glad to have added all these in. So before I finished up, I remembered that I had this punch card from Retro Rick's, and I kind of doubt that we would be going back anytime soon because it is a bit of a drive for us to get there. So since I didn't have a card from there, I ended up just creating this little tip in here. So it's like a punch card. If you buy a certain amount of video games, I can always take it out if we go back and I could get it punched again. But for now, I like it as a little piece of memorabilia in my book. So I'm happy to add it on right there. And then we're just adding any little finishing touches. I wanted a few more stars here, gonna do a little doodle, and then I think we are pretty much done. So I'll give you kind of a flip through here of all the pages that we worked on today. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this process video. Just a fun little quirky random book, but something that makes me happy and that I like to flip through. So happy to have documented a few more pages. So I hope that y'all enjoyed this process video. If you did, please give me a like, and please also consider subscribing. And of course, I will be back at you super soon with another video. So thanks again, guys. I appreciate the support. I will talk to you later. Have a good one, friends. Bye, y'all.